everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk you through everything that is in my art supply bag. I use this bag to go from my bedroom to my living room, or also if I'm going out of town, I take it with me. And it's just really good to transport my supplies because I like to have everything I could possibly need with me at any time. I never like feeling like I'm missing something, and the same thing goes for when it comes to my coloring. So I thought I would share with you my must-haves, the things that I like having when I'm coloring, and also some tips along the way of what helps me and makes my coloring more enjoyable and easy. So I'm just going to casually talk you through those things, starting with the bag itself. So I have a bag by Top Design off of Amazon, and I showed this a little bit in my first ever video where I talked through how I made the color catalog into a book. But I wanted to make a separate video for anyone that stumbled across my page and is interested in my favorite supplies and what I use. I'm really interested in what other people like and which products they use and accessories for their coloring and coloring book hauls, anything like that. Or coloring supplies haul, I love watching. So I thought this would kind of be similar, but let me go ahead and jump right into it. So like I said, this is by Top Design, and I love this bag. I got it with a coupon, so make sure to check underneath when you're ordering things on Amazon. I always have the option, a lot of times I should say, with a little box that says like apply 10% coupon or 20% coupon, or sometimes it will say like apply $20 off or whatever. And all my family, a lot of them didn't know about that, and now it's saving them lots of money too. So make sure to check that. I love this bag because you can tell from my house, and I've said it in other videos, that I love neutrals, and coloring has really inspired me to lean into color and find joy in colorful things. And so I still love my neutrals, but this bag did spark some joy in me, and it reminded me of spiral art as a kid, and it automatically just inspires me. When I grab it, I get excited to color, and I love it with my Ohuhu markers, them next to each other. It's just like automatic serotonin. I can't explain it, but they have lots of different designs. So if this one isn't your fancy, then check out Amazon and see the other designs they had, because they had quite a few. They also have two different styles of the bag. This is the Pro version, and I got this one because I knew I was going to be packing it to the brim with stuff. And it has this side body strap that you can adjust, and it's the exact material pretty much of a seatbelt, so that can, you can imagine what that feels like. So it's really thick and comfortable to wear on your shoulder. That's the main reason I got this one. It also has more pockets than the non-pro, and it came with a little accessory bag, which I'll show you. It has pockets on the outside here, 6 of them, and then it's got pockets on the side here, which take my tumbler around with me and put it in here. And it's got one on both sides. And then it's got another 6 pockets on the back. And then let me go ahead and open it up for you guys. So the first thing I have on top is the main thing that I can't go without when I'm coloring. So this is a little organizational bin that I got off of Amazon. Again, I think everything I have in here is pretty much from Amazon. And it came in multiple packs, like almost like Russian dolls, like small, medium, large. And when you open it up, in here, let me walk you through what I have in here. I really enjoy hand lettering, and so I had a Prismacolor hand lettering set that came with multiple different liners of different thicknesses, and had an instructional book on practicing with them. And they have turned out to be perfect for coloring, and I use the different types of tips for different things, of course. So this one you can see is pretty thick, and I use that if I need to go over the lines on a page. It helps me reinforce that, or if I'm drawing lines, like doing a glass technique and I'm drawing lines that weren't on the page originally, this works really well. And then of course there's finer tips. I use the fine liners mostly for if I'm doing like eyes on something and I color it in white and then I put the little pupil with the fine liner. That's what I end up using those for. And then there's this brush tip. I kind of use this for whatever. I don't use it as often as the other ones, but I use this here and there. And then this tip you will have seen in my color with me videos. When I'm planning out my color palettes for a page, if I don't like a color, I use this like almost chisel tip to block it out so that it doesn't, when I'm visually looking at the page and seeing if the colors go together, if I block out a color, it doesn't affect what I'm looking at and trying to see if all the colors go well. And that's really the main tips. That there's various sizes of the liners that are thick and thin, but those are the main ones that I use. I also have a Pigramicron. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but I have one of those that when I used to bullet journal, I used this a lot, but it's almost dead. So I mostly do the Prismacolor fine liners, and just because there's more of a variety. And then I have a pencil just because you never know when you need one. And I end up using this a lot. If I want to draw a new line that wasn't on the page first, I'll always use this before to sketch it out. And I use this in my activity books, and I just always like having it with me because you never know. And then I have this Pentel eraser, like the good old days, that clicks and goes up and down. And it came in a pack of 3 or 4, I want to say, off of Amazon. And I got this when I started shading with colored pencils, because if I didn't like the way it looked or something, I could just erase it. So these came in handy a lot. Then I have my favorite pen in here. This doesn't have the name on it because I ordered it off of a Japanese stationery site. I think it was called jetpens.com, I want to say. But I believe it's the Black Uniball 0.28 extra fine gel pen, I think. You can get a good look at it, but I've been using it for years, so I should know the name of it. But I used this all throughout college, and it's, like it says, a very fine tip. And I find that it doesn't have bursts of ink, and then it also doesn't smear, and I love the way it feels in my hand. So this is my favorite pen. While I'm on the topic of pens, actually, I just reached over and grabbed this. This is my other favorite pen. I would say that this is my good and faithful long-term pen. But more recently, I discovered the U Brands, Target's brand, that is 0.7. And something about this one, it's made out of recycled materials, and the way that it clicks and the way that it feels in my hand, this, I would say, beats this one for me when I'm writing. If I'm drawing something of some sort, I would say use this one. But this one is really, I journal a lot, and it's my go-to journaling pen. It's also very lightweight. And then other than my Ohuhu markers, my Jelly Roll pens are a must when it comes to my coloring. I use these so much. This is essentially an eraser for alcohol markers. If you go out of the lines or something, this you can go over and erase, and it's magic. I will say, if you go and erase somewhere that you colored that's within the picture, like not on the outer line, and then you go over that with alcohol marker, it will have a different look, obviously, than it would on the paper. But if you have a really dark color that you went out of the lines and you're desperate to get rid of it, and then you're going, over where you went out of the lines with a lighter color, this really helps erase that. It's very situational, but I feel like it comes in handy a lot. So I would definitely recommend trying that if you haven't. But I have a variety of thicknesses. I use the 8 the most, and the 5. So I use the 5 if I'm coloring in the eyes or the elephant tusk. You'll see me use these a lot in my RJ Hampson Color With Me video with the elephants on the bouncy castle. But I really recommend these. And then, of course, for the highlights, it just really makes an image pop with the alcohol markers. So Jelly Roll markers. I am in the market to get some Posca markers, though, some Posca paint markers, because these do skip a lot and they can be a little bit finicky sometimes. And I've just heard the best things about the Posca markers. So that is on my list of things to buy. Then I have Ohuhu brush tip replacements. Again, off Amazon. So this comes with a little bag of the nibs that are reversible. So you can flip them whenever they get worn down. And then it also comes with these tweezers. This is actually the main reason that I bought it, because I haven't replaced any of my nibs yet, but I have flipped them around if they've gotten frayed. So this is really, really helpful if you have Ohuhu markers and your nibs are wearing out. Definitely order this. It was not expensive. And then you have the backup nibs, but really you have these tweezers that have these spikes on the inside there, and it helps from really creating a lot of a mess when you're moving that around. So I definitely recommend these if you have the brush tip markers. And then I have a little spray bottle of rubbing alcohol, which I'm going to come back to explaining this, but it's for my bleed sheet that's in a page protector to spray and erase when I bleed. But I'll show you that a little more in depth when I show you my bleed sheet. Then I have some whiteout. You never know when you need this. I use it a lot more than I think I'm going to, and whenever I have this, I pretty much have this bag with me anywhere I go, and so I just like having some backup whiteout. It's helpful. But like I said, the jelly roll pens are my first go-to, but if that doesn't work, I'm pulling out the big guns. Then I have this little container that came in the same set of organizational bins, and it has little chip clips that I got from the dollar store. I've talked about these again a lot in my videos, but it's for my bleed sheet trick, which I'll get to. And it came in a pack of 5, so I use 2 when I'm coloring, and so I keep the rest in here. And then I have this pencil sharpener that I have had for I don't know how long, maybe since middle school or high school, but it is just the best pencil sharpener. Now don't quote me on that because I've never gotten a fancy one, because this one's always been my go-to. It's called Twist and Sharp, which I also just think is hilarious, and it has a little twist thing here where you can twist and choose if you want it to be a pointy tip or a flat tip at the end, so that it doesn't, break right when you go to draw. And it's by Boss Stitch, and then you just open up the side here to empty it. And I want to say I got it from Target when I was getting school supplies years and years ago, and I have always loved it. It's never done me wrong. And then last but not least in this organizational bin, I have these little pastel tabs. They're by Mr. Pen off Amazon, and I use these to mark a page. I had little paper sticky tabs before, but they were breaking off and would get bent and really worn out. These are a little bit more sturdy, and you can reuse them and re-stick, and they're just sticky enough to where you can reuse them several times, but not sticky enough to where they pull your page and tear it. So they've been really wonderful, and I think they're the perfect size. And so I think these are great for if you want to mark a page. Like I was marking all the Christmas pages in my books, so that at Christmas, and I did the same thing in the autumn and in fall, that I mark them. That way I can keep up with which pages are for which season, because it's easy for the season to go by and then you're like, dang it, I didn't do any seasonal photos or pictures. And also I like marking them to show you my completed pages for the month, like I did in January. So excited about these. These are newer to my little collection, but that now that I have them, I can't imagine living without them. So everything fits in here pretty perfectly. I've got my tabs, the whiteout, the chip clips, the bottle of rubbing alcohol, the sharpener, and then all my pens and such here, pens and pencils. So that is my little collection of must-haves, accessories, you might say. And then I have some colored pencils that I also got off Amazon just to try out to see if I used colored pencils and stuck to it. And it is by Prina, maybe you would say. I did not have a super great experience using these. I ended up actually liking the look better of just shading with darker, either layers of alcohol markers or darker shades of the same color. I just have found that to be more efficient. I like the look of it better. But this is great in certain situations for textures like fur. But I've said this a bunch in other videos, so I won't stay on this for long. But I have just struggled with colored pencils because now that I'm used to alcohol markers that have like very little strain on my hand because I have such a light touch, and they fill up the page faster, and you don't have to press hard, obviously, and they blend seamlessly. I cannot figure out how to get colored pencils to not be streaky, and maybe it's just because I don't have nice ones, but several of you guys have recommended Castle and Prismacolor. So I would like to give those a try eventually, and I might make a video about that. But for now, this is what I have if I ever want to shade, and so I keep those in this bag. Then, similarly, I have another little bag that is by Color It, Free Your Creativity, and I showed these in my last video. These are glitter pens and metallic pens. These make me feel like a kid again, and these are really fun to embellish with, little hearts and stars or whatever. And I did a mandala with them, and they have just been a fun addition to my collection. So definitely recommend these. Then I have a book light. This has been a wonderful book light. I've had many a book light in my day, and I have really loved this one. The battery life on it is incredible, days, and it is by Gritin, Gritin. I'll try to link everything. But it has a really fat adjustable clip here, so it goes on pretty much anything. This is extremely adjustable and great. And then it has obviously a fatter headlight here, and so it goes along the page beautifully. And then it has 3 separate buttons. One is just for it to be on, one is to adjust the brightness, and then the other one is to adjust if you want it. This is the warm and the cool, and this is just the warm, and this is the cool. So I love the buttons. I love this light. I use this if I am on a road trip and I'm coloring and there's not good light or it's nighttime. I use it at my house when all the lights are off. My husband's gaming and I'm coloring next to him. That is 9 times out of 10 what my evenings look like. And I use this all the time. Or if he's gone to bed already and I'm wanting to color. So you never know when you need a book light. And if you don't have one for when you color, it's just great. Also, even if it's daylight out, sometimes it's just nice to have a light to be easier on your eyes. So love this. Next, I have these organizational, again, some more bins. These are white bins from Target. I want to say this was $2 for a 2-pack. And I got this because a lot of times I pick a color palette and I don't want to go back and forth putting my markers back. And I like having this next to me, and it's just easier to grab right next to the page instead of turning to my full bag. I'm very grateful to have the 320 set of Ohuhu markers. I started with the 216 set and then got the 104 set once I realized how much I was really loving coloring to make my full 320 set. I'm grateful to have that, but it is a very big bag, and it's just easier to have it right here next to my page. So for instance, last night I was coloring this mandala and I picked out this coloring palette. It is number 468. You'll see this in my February completed pages video, but I chose this color palette. I wanted to do different shades of blue. And so I picked the markers, and when I went to my bed last night, instead of taking all my coloring stuff in there, I just stuck those markers. I used the color catalog companion to figure out which markers went with it. And so that took 2 seconds. Took the card with me for inspiration. And then I just took the book and the book light, and that's all I took to bed instead of my whole bag and everything. So, and it was super therapeutic and put me right to sleep. So I just love these bins. The other reason they're great is it's where I clip my book light when I am coloring. So I'll have my coloring page on the table, this next to it, and then I have my book light and my markers right next to it. And it's just been such a wonderful system. And this is one of the main reasons I wanted to show what's in my bag, because I love seeing how other people have their setup and what they use. And this has been such a wonderful addition to my coloring stuff because it's made life so much easier and more enjoyable when I'm coloring. Next, I have an activity book actually, and I got this on sale for $7 when I was out of town at a Barnes & Noble, and it has a little bit of everything. It has dot to dot, it has coloring pages that I could use with pencil, but since I use marker, I haven't done a ton of them. Crossword puzzles, word searches, mazes. As you can see, there is a couple of dot to dots that I've done, and what else is in here? Oh, spot the differences. I love doing spot the differences. Also a game that, Hanji? Let me know if you played this. I was trying to figure it out and it was breaking my brain. I couldn't quite figure it out. But also, even though it's double-sided, so I haven't been able to color much in here. I actually really love the coloring pictures in here. I had started this one with colored pencils, and you can see I don't have the touch with colored pencils, but I thought that was a cute picture. There's this one in the ocean. Also just some miscellaneous like geometric ones with lines. This one's a little tree trunk house. You can see with the door. Random little images, but I thought this is such a good variety. I loved the front with the mountains with the different types of activities. And I just liked throwing this in here because if I'm ever, if I'm on a road trip and I'm coloring or anything like that, it's just nice to have this to pull out and do a little activity. And I've really enjoyed it. So I wanted to show that to you too. It's a really great book. Then I have 3 coloring workbooks. I, again, flipped through these and showed them in another video in my coloring book haul if you want to see specific flip throughs. This one is not my favorite. It's more like a textbook, and I like having these books as inspiration to get me excited about coloring or just to flip through and get inspiration, and I found that these 2 really do that for me. So this one's specifically about markers, and then this one is just an ultimate guide to coloring. So I'll just show you really briefly. This has all kinds of things, but the artwork in it just gets me excited, and I can be really like rigid and organized and type A person in my life, and I love that these art pushes me out of my comfort zone to just put something on a page and not worry about it. And it's taught me a lot. I know it sounds silly, but it has in my personal life to, let go and just enjoy myself and to go with my mistakes, to not get stuck in them and beat myself up, but to make the most of them with a coloring page. Also to just slow down in life. There's so many things that it's taught me, but one of the things is to just let go and lean into creativity and being more flexible and having fun in life and not trying to make everything perfect and just enjoying imperfection. So I don't know. Just a little side tangent there, but these really have encouraged that in me as well. Then I have this little FedEx beat up piece of paper. I went to FedEx to print this Ohuhu sheet for swatching, and it was cut off and ended up not being the right kind of paper to swatch on. So I have kept it in here, but I need to order another one, and I'm going to swatch it and hopefully make a video of that with me cleaning all my markers and such. But this just has all of my swatch sheets and pieces of paper that I can put behind stuff. It also has this piece of plastic that's actually made for Bible journaling that, as you can see, I've gotten dirty in my journaling and everything. And it has extra paper, so extra plain paper. So I used to have this all on a clipboard, and I am meaning to go to the dollar store and get another clipboard, but my niece was coloring with me. She calls me her coloring buddy, and it's the best thing in the world, and we color together. And she got so excited about the idea of a clipboard and was blown away by it because she puts her whole arms on the table when she's coloring and she moves the paper around. And with the clipboard, it was like really helping her. And so I just was like, you can have it. And she got so excited to write her name on it and stuff. So I have yet to get another one, but usually this is on a clipboard, but for now it's in this FedEx paper. So I need to go to the store and get that. Then there is a little wristlet in here, you might say. Again, it's by Top Design. It came with the bag if you get the Pro version. And this fits the Ohuhu markers perfectly. So when I have a specific color palette, I put my markers all in here. And if I'm going on a trip or something, then I can just take out that palette and put them in my bin. And then I'm good to go with coloring. And I don't have to sort through my markers again and again. So this is a really nice little addition. Then we have my color catalog books, which at this point, I think I've mentioned it in every video because I am just obsessed with my color catalogs by Sarah Renee Clark. But I made these books. I've made a whole video on it. I've talked about them a bunch. So again, I won't go into it. but I have volume 1 and volume 2, and then the color catalog companion, and I keep these with me for inspiration everywhere I go. And this is why I made them into books instead of just getting her color cubes, which I ended up getting anyway. I legitimately use the books and the color cubes. I also may have a video of me unboxing this, but these cards have pleasantly surprised me with the quality of them and how nice it is to have it next to my picture. But the main reason I got it is to show you all the palettes that I use without showing all of Sarah Renee Clark's hard work. But yeah, I love having these to flip through for inspiration, to find a palette. And then, like I said, I use the color catalog companion to find which markers go with that palette. And then my palette is set for the page. And then that's everything in the bag, but let me just show you quickly the inside here. So on one side, you have several pockets. And then on the other side, there are pockets here, but then there is a laptop sleeve that has a little Velcro here. This is where I put the coloring books that I'm currently using, and it keeps them from getting all scuffed up and bent up. And it's just been a really wonderful system. So if you're looking for a way to have all of your coloring stuff on the go, this is a really awesome option. I think they have different sizes, and I want to say this is the large, but it makes me so happy, and it's just made coloring that much more enjoyable. The last thing I almost forgot to show you is I always have my bleed sheet. So this is why I said I wanted to explain it. It's one of my tips. Is if you like coloring with alcohol markers and it bleeds, instead of using just a regular sheet of paper, I came up with the idea of putting cardstock in a page protector, and then I put this behind my picture. So I'll show you with the demonstration of what I was working on last night. So if you put this in here, and then this is where my clips come in handy. I clip these at the top of whatever page I'm doing, so the page so the bleed sheet doesn't move. So then this is very, very in place and won't move. And the reason that's important is if you do use a page protector like this to save on paper, and it's just really, it makes it easier. Let me actually demonstrate real quick. Okay, I'm going to show you a demonstration. If I use this is a black, as dark as it gets, and I have a regular sheet of paper on here on the page protector. If I color on this, so I colored in one spot so it would really pick that up. You can see it caught that ink. Now if I color with a lighter color, this is as light as the Ohu markers get, the Cool Gray 0. If I put this over that, so if my paper moved and I was coloring over a different part with a lighter color, it picks up that black ink. And now that black ink is on this paper. So if you use the plastic sheet here as a bleed sheet, it's super important with the alcohol markers to hold it in place, because it will pick up that ink and it will ruin the picture that you've worked on. And it's happened to me, and it's absolutely devastating. So if you hold it in place, that doesn't happen at all, and you're just good to go. And then when you're done, you have a sheet that may or may not have a lot of bleeding on it. And then all you have to do is take your little rubbing alcohol, which is what is in the alcohol markers, and spray it on there. And then that wipes right away. And let me tell you, when you finish a page and this has alcohol mark bleeding on it, and you spray it and you wipe that off, it's so satisfying. So I really recommend this little trick. I just wanted to mention it. I'm sure I'll mention it in future videos as well, because I'm so happy with it. It really makes life so much easier on me, and it makes me feel good that I'm saving on a paper. So I've been using this for like a year, and it's been amazing, and it's going good. You can see it got stuck in a book once and got bent here, but it's still going strong. So can't recommend this enough. I have a little list here of the things that are on my wish list that I'm hoping to get for my coloring, and I just wanted to mention them because they will eventually be in this bag. One of which is the clipboard. Another is the swatch sheet that I mentioned. I'm going to have a swatch sheet so it's all in one. Right now I have the Ohuhu marker swatch sheets, and because I had the 216 set before I had the 104 edition, I have 5 different swatch sheets, and so I have to flip through and they're not in order. And so I would love to have one single sheet, and I'm super excited about that. I just keep forgetting to do that, but that is definitely going to happen. I want Posca pens, like I said. I've only ever bought the individual Jelly Roll pens. I'd like to get the pack that has more of a variety because I use them so much. But before I do that, I think I will buy Posca pens and see how I feel about those to figure out which I prefer. But eventually I'd like to get more of a variety of the white pens since I have several black. And then the last thing is I would love to get Ohuhu's marker notebook. I've always heard that alcohol markers bleed on any kind of paper that you use, but I've seen people use, when double-sided, the marker pad by Ohuhu, and I saw someone on YouTube have that notebook and put different patterns and embellishment ideas and textures that you could use while you're coloring to make your page more interesting. And she chose different ones she saw on Amazon and online and made her own little collection of them. And I really want to do that. So if I do that, I'll definitely share it with you guys, and I'll share with you her name. But I'd love to get that marker pad so that I can have my personal little catalog, just like I have my color palette catalogs. I can also have a pattern one to just make my page a little more interesting and detailed. But that is everything in my art bag. I hope that you enjoyed this and found at least 1 or 2 things that you want to add to your coloring collection. Or, as always, I hope it just inspired you to get excited about your coloring and use things you already have. So let me know if there's anything that stuck out to you in the comments and that you enjoyed. You know that I love reading your comments. I check them throughout the day on my app, and I get so excited whenever I see a new comment, and I love responding to you guys. So make sure if you saw anything that stuck out to you to let me know. Also, give me a like if you like content like this, and if you are excited about more videos to come, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so that you never miss a video. But that is everything. I can't thank you enough for watching until the end, and I hope that you have a wonderful day and happy coloring.